Yeah, so it's only fitting that I have Liz Dorland from the American Red Cross here with me. That just happened to work out this way. But Liz, here in town, not only for the state fair, but we're also talking about volunteerism, and we're going to get into that in a moment. Let's get right to Doppler 5 live radar, Liz, because obviously some severe weather going out there. Just what we don't need any day of the week, right? But also heading into the first day of the state fair, and we have two severe thunderstorm warnings. The first one expires at 6:15. That's in Jewell County in northern Kansas. Then the second one obviously expires at 6:30, and that's right in eastern Rooks County and eastern western Osborne County. Moving off to the north, and large hail damaging winds, the main threats there. You can see a closer look as it's moving up towards Superior and eventually to Hebron. As we move forward here, you can see we're in the 80s and 90s, and mostly here around our area in the mid to upper 80s, with overnight tonight pretty warm overnight. We'll see those humid conditions, light breeze, keep a few clouds around. Most of these storms are going to be hit or miss. And now we're talking about the American Red Cross. And Liz, it's been a very busy summer for you and your team. Obviously, you started in Pilger and Beaver Crossing and all the tornadoes, but also the fires. There's fires that you respond to and provide comfort and care, and also flooding. But one of the biggest parts of your organization are the volunteers. Why are they so vital?
Volunteers make up 94% of our workforce across the entire area of the American Red Cross, and especially here in Nebraska, we've got a great base of disaster responding volunteers. So those are the folks that answer the call for help for a home fire in the middle of the night or any time of the day, and that's the most common disaster that we respond to. And then it ramps up from there. Those responders then get activated when, you know, the Sutton tornado happened, the Beaver Crossing, Pilger, the flooding that we experienced this time last year in North Platte. So this is a really great group of folks that they're ready to help our community. They're ready to set up shelters, provide mass feeding if we need to, and any comfort and care in those supplies.
Okay, and you know, one of the things when I watched you and your team up in Pilger really touched me when I was up there, so I actually became an official Red Cross volunteer because I want to lead by example, and when I'm not in here, I want to be out doing things for the community. I've had other people tell me, Liz, that they'd like to do the same. So coming up in about 7 or 8 minutes after we do main weather, Liz and I'll be back, and we're going to talk about what you can do to help serve the community and ways that you can sign up and make a difference around central Nebraska. So stick with us, Katie. Send it back to you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Well, it's not the greatest time here as we head into the first day of the state fair, but severe weather tomorrow and also right now, dealing with severe weather in northern Kansas right now. A severe thunderstorm warning for a few more minutes here in Jewell County, and then the other one down to its southwest in effect until 6:30 tonight. You can see just around Rooks and Osborne County. To be quite honest, on radar, the one to the southwest doesn't look quite as impressive as this one here in Jewell County, so probably a good chance we're going to get that reissued as we're looking at large hail and damaging winds. There's the hail trackers right there with the storm as it's slowly pushing up to the northeast. So that's moving towards Superior and eventually Hebron further to the northeast. Of course, this storm in Osborne is moving off to the northeast as well. So we'll continue to track that the rest of the night. Nice view of our Skycam. That is a mature thunderstorm right there. There's the Anvil flanking line right there. It's about 50, 60 miles off to our southwest looking from Hastings. That's a great shot. As what is great? Well, this summer-like weather. Got to have it heading into the fair. Upper 80s through most of the viewing area from Ord back to Kearney. 90s down in Smith Center. So summer conditions abound, but will it stick around? Let you know. In the meantime, we really need to focus on this threat for severe weather tomorrow. Warm front right through the area, right around Interstate 80. I think as we get storms to the north of that, they'll be mostly elevated. That means, I think, to the north of this front, large hail damaging winds. The main threat, if we can get storms right along that boundary tomorrow, latter part of the afternoon into evening, we may be looking at an isolated tornado or two. Continue to watch that. Conditions aren't great, but we could have a handful of severe thunderstorms tomorrow night. As tomorrow we'll be in the mid-70s. As we get through the morning, we'll be in the upper 80s by the middle part of the afternoon. Then we'll cool back down, not much, but just a little bit to the mid-80s. So we'll see those thunderstorms developing off to the west and northwest of the Tri-Cities, I think, by the latter part of the afternoon into the evening, where we'll see the highs right in the upper 80s to low 90s. We'll see those mid-90s here to the southwest, light winds, plenty of sunshine throughout the day. Then we'll build clouds in throughout the afternoon, 90s and even hundreds coming into the picture, and back to the east around Lincoln. Also, Beatrice, we'll see those 90s as well. Quick look at the 7-day forecast. Shapes up like this. 90s giving back way to 80s, and then we'll stay in the 80s for a few more days here, and then we'll get into next week. We'll even see 70s back in the picture. So a very rainy start to the fair, and we're going to keep that around as well. And bringing back in Liz Dorland here. who's public relations extraordinaire with the American Red Cross. That's
I like
my
that
word.
new title.
Extraordinary. Well, you know, just happen to be here. And of course, we've got severe weather, but that's not what we're really talking about. We're talking
Right.
about the after effects. You've done a lot of disaster prep, disaster relief, using volunteers. That's the theme tonight. And now that I'm a volunteer, an official volunteer, which my first duty comes Saturday morning at the fair, what's my role now with the Red Cross?
So as a volunteer, you have several different areas that you can be engaged within the American Red Cross. You can be a disaster volunteer, you can do a health and safety event like what you're going to be doing on Saturday morning. You're going to be Scrubby Bear out at the State Fair.
Scrubby Bear, yeah.
So talking to kids about washing your hands.
Am I the right person to do that?
Well, we'll see. we'll figure it out. I think that you're going to be good at that one.
I'm kind of dicey in that area.
But really what we need a lot of disaster relief volunteers. So these are our disaster responders. They're the folks that go out after a disaster and help people, hand out those supplies. They answer the call for help like a fire through the overnight hours. And so there's lots of things that we do. We provide mobile feeding. We do casework. So we're meeting individually, one-on-one with folks who've been impacted by a disaster to help build a long-term recovery plan for them. We're looking at buildings to determine if they're able to be lived in again. So that's damage assessment. So that's one area that you can be part of. You can do public affairs, which would be wonderful. Join my team. You could do work on services to the armed forces, and that is helping our military and our veterans. But right now, we're really talking and thinking about the disasters that we've been through. And like I said, responding to a fire and handing out that little bag. What you see there are those two girls from a UNO fire, the University of Nebraska at Omaha fire. And lots of them were displaced. We were out there for several hours, and just that bag of a toothbrush and toothpaste and the things that you don't think about, we're able to provide that for them after the immediate damage has happened. So we're there for them.
You bet. And as an outsider looking in, Liz, to what I saw up in Pilger, because that's what I keep going back to back in June, this was 10 days after the tornado, and you were there with your team, and a lot of hugs going around, and a lot of comfort and care is your buzzword. But I mean, it's really about finding a way, and this is a way for people that want to help neighbors in their community around the state to get involved and really show that they care. And this is a great way to do it, isn't it?
It's all about building community resiliency is really what the Red Cross is all about right now.
And I believe we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. I'll have the information on that coming up in just a minute, Katie. And here's a look at your radar right now. 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. The first one for Rooks and Osborne County until 6:30, so just a few more minutes. Then the other one in Jewell County until 7 o'clock tonight. We'll zoom in real quick and take a look. These storms moving off to the northeast, not all that quickly, but nevertheless, large hail, damaging winds, main threats. And here's your State Fair forecast tomorrow. And unfortunately, Ed and Katie, we may be dealing with some severe weather once again tomorrow night, only up here in Nebraska, where we'll be in the 80s for daytime highs to low 90s. And the best chance for severe storms will be in the latter part of the afternoon into the early part of the evening.
Guess I better bring that umbrella tomorrow then.
And a hard hat.
All right, well, up next, a half-hour special with your favorite morning crew. The News 5 Today crew is live at the State Fair with a State Fair preview show. Stay tuned as Chris Shukai, Shelby Fenster walk us through some of the new events there, and Travis Kleneski will, of course, have his special 11-day forecast out there, and that starts right after this.
That gets us right up to Christmas, doesn't it?
It does, pretty close, I would say, but we will be watching those storms tomorrow, that's for sure. All right, we'll see you right back here at 10 o'clock. Make sure you stay tuned for that State Fair preview special starting right now.
Ed, you and I are going to eat some food.